I guess with that, make you fuck around with the microphone, girl. In a minute, I'm going to show you a little bit around the dog yard and the projects that I'm going to work on. But this is another project that I'm working on at the moment, which is actually getting the quad up and running again. It was working, you know. I just needed to check, you know, get a new starter motor in and actually just, you know, clean out the carburetor and everything to make it properly running again, because it had its problems. But for an old machine, I think it's from 86, or no, 88 actually. For that, it's actually working pretty well. So I'm just gonna do some minor maintenance stuff and actually cosmetics, because the plastic is quite broken down. So I'm gonna fix that one. But that's not why you're here, most likely. So I just wanted to show you this baby is a work in progress. But I had a lot of work to do the couple of weeks, so that just fell a little bit on the wayside, you know. So and today is a more easy day, so I just wanted to show you what's going to happen in the near future. So one of my projects, besides the fact that my snowmobile is stranded and I quite often have to work on my car as well, and some other stuff that I have to do. So show you in a second. Huh? Noise, huh? Yeah. Yeah. So those idiots need a brush once in a while. I'm just using this comb. I don't like to use other ones. They usually don't really work that well. You can see on him here, probably you can see, hopefully. This is a spot where the stick harness that he's using always sits on, which makes this part a little bit more tangled up quite often. And they actually use lose the upper hairs a little bit. So if you're someone who fancies a good clean dog, hey, Akpik, don't destroy it. Akpik, cut the bullshit, girl. If you fancy a clean coat and whatnot, that's not the way to go, basically. Lady, huh? Yeah. In case you're wondering why I often just show you those guys here, it's basically because they're a little bit more engaging quite often, but it's also the light here is much better, you know. The sun is basically moving around like this, you know, and it's usually, by the time I'm capable of filming a little bit, the sun is just here and everything else just looks a little odd. So I kind of have to quite often just show you those guys. This is Tuto, by the way, in case you don't know. Look big. And he's a little bit more of an easygoing guy in terms of this. Some of the other guys are a bit more annoyed by actually doing it, but at the moment they're actually really more happy that something is happening, since, you know, we have, I don't know, it's in the sunshine, it's quite warm. Yep. Even though I'm running around in a shirt and stuff like that because I'm standing around quite much, but it is fairly warm. But the cool thing here actually in the dog yard is, even though it, you know, for the ordinary person that might look like it's really shitty ground and whatnot, and it can be if it's like really wet, but otherwise it actually stays a bit more moist, which keeps the ground here quite cool. Here you go. Which helps the dogs a lot over the summer. And I really like that it's that way, you know. There's gonna be a point in a few years where I have to use some other part, like, you know, maybe use yeah, some sort of pellet material or whatever, you know, like bark pieces and whatnot. That is actually quite good to have on the dog yard. But what I definitely not gonna do is putting gravel out. I think gravel is really shit. Besides the fact that they get like really dusty, it's it's more the problem. The biggest problem is just like it takes so much more toll on the dogs in terms of the paws and stuff. Some argue, you know, it makes the paw stronger or whatever bullshit you can come up with, but I think that is just pretty much horseshit. It definitely keeps it more dry because but you don't really get that much benefit otherwise. I mean, just imagine you walking around on gravel the whole time. You know, it's hard enough that the dogs are actually like running on gravel when training in the summer or in fall time. But besides that, it's not really useful. Lady? What's going on, girl? Yui. Now Galina's coming up. You. Good girl. How are you doing, huh? You. He's handsome girl. Galina, huh? No. I guess with that, make you fuck around with the microphone, girl. You're breathing straight into it. Little dummies, huh? Careful. Sound is gonna be shit again, so I get complaints by Chris. By the way, in terms of all the undercoat that is coming off now, I actually collected. I haven't done that before, but this year I'm gonna focus a little bit on it. And then there are companies that actually are pretty happy to get it, and then they're gonna use it. You know, you spun it together with sheep wool, and it gets a pretty good insulation. Otherwise the hair is a little bit too short for actually making just yarn out of it, so you kind of have to mix it in with sheep wool, but it gets really good. It has a really good isolation value, so insulation value. So definitely, like if you have a bunch of dogs, do that. It's really good. You know, instead of just throwing it in the garbage or whatever you do with it. The last couple of years, I never really bothered, but if they're happy to get it, it's good. You know, it's a good use of that stuff. And I don't know. I have 9 dogs. It's not super much, but if it gets, you know, to quite a bit, you know, in terms of volume, I'm happy to ship it down to wherever it needs to go, you know, and then they can just do whatever they want with it, you know. I'm not interested in actually gaining money out of it. Obviously, don't, but if it just for the shipping costs, you know, then it's pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna continue doing that. I just don't want to bore you here like hell all the time. I mean, I know for some of the women who really enjoys doing that kind of stuff, it can be quite relaxing to actually just watch it. It's always funny when I have like female friends coming over. They always like start to take off little bits and pieces. It's always funny. I hate doing that, to be honest. I hate brushing my dogs. Not because I don't want to interact with them. It's more like for some reason I really hate to do this kind of like, you know, going over it. I mean, they're quite okay with it, like I said. Some were really enjoying it, some don't. She always looks a little miserable. It's so funny. But what she really loves is just when I'm stopping, she just like lays down, you know, and just like really goes deep in. She's just not this, you know, licking my face kind of type. It's quite funny to see how different they are. Galina is a little bit more the opposite, even though she's her mother. And father Tutu as well. Like he's also like very much more engaging, you know. She's a little bit more reserved. What are you doing, huh? Have you eaten some dirt? No, good girl. You know, eating some dirt. Probably smell like shit again. It used to be a horse place here as well, like where the horses have been grazing quite much. So the ground is really like fertile, and the dogs really eat a lot of dirt from it. They quite often smell like garlic, which I hate because I don't like garlic, or the smell of people smelling like garlic. So it kind of bothers me. I can't really do anything about it. That's why I'm always looking forward to the winter, and they can't do that crap. It's usually in the beginning of the season where they do that a lot, and then most of them stop, and just a few of them really keep on going. It's always the cleanup in the springtime is always the worst. I let it dry out a little bit more, and then I actually have to go over here, take out all the. What are you doing, buddy? Huh. Toto has been eating bones, and he looks like he's gonna puke. There you go, huh? There is some shit coming out here. Not all of them are shedding really. Toto is doing a little bit. Galina is doing a little bit. She is doing quite a bit. Kinyak looks like crap at the moment. Barely any coat left. It's quite fun to see how different they are. You know? Alrighty. Getting bored doing that. Couple more dogs to go, so. What I like to do is this. Lifting up the skin a little bit. Always looks a little bit harsh, but it's actually not. The reason for it is to basically get the blood flow going, and so they lose a little bit stiffness that they might build up. Here you go. Here you go. Mm-hmm. See? No, she's looking sad again, huh? Stop breathing into my microphone. Ah, pig. Come here. Little girl. Hmm? What are you doing? Bored? And they love their little ear scratches, huh? She's always doing that, just straight face on my chest, and then act big till you start again. Leave the camera alone. Act big. Hey. Every time, huh? Good girl. What are you doing now? So yeah, sorry. It's like I said, it's a little bit of an easier day today. Today's Saturday, and not much happening home. Taking it easy. The sun just came out actually. It was quite cold in the morning. It's still like around, I'd say about 5 degrees in the mornings, and then it warms up over the day. So especially when the sun is coming out. So we haven't had rain in a while, so it's pretty good. Everything can dry out, you know. The snow can melt down as well pretty fast. I mean, of course, when it's raining, it actually goes even quicker. But this way, the ground can dry out a little bit. So every rainfall that would come is not just flooding the area, you know, because the ground is still thawing. So everything now can really thaw out properly. So if I fix the quad and it's starting to get a little bit colder, I'm going to be able to run the dogs again. But right now I'm still waiting a little bit because they're still in full coat, you know, and it's so bloody warm at the moment, so there's really no use to hurry. Good girl. And as you can see, the dogs are pretty relaxed as well. Alright guys, have a good one. You just need to... It's good, Leute, it's good. Now you're just gonna take the camera out, huh? No. So here you see quite a lot of shit laying around. Not only my clothes, but also quite a lot of building material. So besides the work that I'm doing right now, which is renovating an apartment, and actually I just finished another job, painting a whole cabin. I'm gonna build or rebuild my tent to actually make it more suitable for the next upcoming years. I was actually thinking of like getting a small cabin or even a caravan or something like that, but in the end, I'm gonna build a trailer at some point for my dogs and myself as well, with a smaller compartment. For me it would be like 2 by 2.5 to 3 meters, something like that, and then the dogs have their, travel components, the boxes. But besides that, I just wanted to have something a little bit more proper for the winter, so I'm gonna build the tent out a little bit. Means I'm gonna use those pallets since we got them for free. I'm gonna make uh, just basically a foundation out of it, plateau, on which some the which will sit on those stones over there. I got all this shit from a friend of mine who actually took down his cabin, so all this stuff is for free. So I'm just gonna reuse stuff, and then I'm gonna elevate the whole tent basically by about a meter to gain more space, because the tent is actually 28 square meters, of which I'm using like probably 15 square meters at the moment, something like that, because it is, the shape that it is, you lose a lot of like movable ground, so I definitely gonna have to improve on that. And then I actually gonna, since in town you pretty much get stuff like thrown at you, because people are renovating their apartments at the moment, so you get like couches and like, even full kitchens and everything for super cheap. So I'm gonna see if I can improve upon my whole living situation. So I'm gonna lift up the tent, and then I'm gonna frame the tent as well, and then the outside canvas will stay the same. However, on the inside of that, like whether you, uh, canvas is sitting, I also gonna put a wind blanket. What you use on building houses as well. Wind protection. It's um it's just a polyester material, that basically just seals it off a little bit to actually increase the warmth in the tent by just having less wind coming through. And then maybe, since I'm gonna frame it, like I said, maybe on the inside of that framing, I'm gonna do another layer to make it like really properly windproof, and actually creating an air pocket, which would give me a little bit more warmth. Also, next week I'm gonna pick up a new stove. It's a Util 206, which is a super common stove that you have in all kinds of cabins, in particular in the fjell, in the mountains. You have quite a lot of cabins that are equipped with that one. It's a really good stove, quite sturdy, super good, and I can get it like for quite cheap, so that's going to be really nice. And then on the inside of the tent, the floor is going to be insulated. We have 100 millimeter styrofoam plates that we also have for free from another job, so I'm going to use those and actually build probably cut boards up out of cutting down trees, and actually just really just do it myself and just cut them down, because we have a sawmill here, so I'm probably going to do that, um, which would give a really nice look to the inside. We will see, all with time, because like I said, I'm a little bit knackered at the moment. I have to work another week, really quite much like back to back and stuff. Not super long time, like, but there's so much other stuff that I have to do, so that it really adds up. I'm just running around in circles the whole time, which is quite tiring. So, but yeah, that's how it is sometimes. Luxury problems. It's actually good to earn some money finally after the winter, because it's always like that. When you come out of the winter, money is gone basically. But anyway, really good times at the moment anyways, weather is good, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So the other thing that I'm doing, besides the dogs are resting, I actually have to brush them quite a bit. So I'm gonna show you that.